I've got to do some pumpkins based on The Boys. I love the show. For the first one, I'm going to be carving Homelander onto one of my foam pumpkins.
That was diabolical.
This is a first in a series of 3 videos. I'm going to be giving away one of the foam pumpkins to one of you.
All right, everyone just calm down.
Watch to the end of the video to find out how you can get your hands on one of these. So I'm practicing some portrait style pumpkins. The first one was this 11 portrait that I did from Stranger Things. This second one's going to be Homelander, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of portraits. Even working from a photo can be very difficult to get a true likeness of the person you're trying to carve, and the only way to get around that is just to practice, keep doing it. So hopefully in this video I'll be giving you some of the tips of things I've already learned, things that I'm hopefully going to learn along the way. First of all, I need to make a photo stencil and get that onto the pumpkin. So when you're carving a face, you really want to observe where the light source is. Start to break the face down into the basic shapes that light makes when it hits an object. So if you look at my face here, I've got a light to one side. The light's basically hitting, this side of my face and casting a shadow on this. Then as the light moves round, that light starts to illuminate the rest of my face. So on this picture of Homelander, the light's coming in from this angle, so it's catching all one side of his face, and then this side is pretty much in the shadow. But what I'm really going to focus on are the shapes that the light is making on this side of his face. And there's a section on the forehead, on the cheek, sort of the side of the nose, the ear. Focus on one section at a time. I'm going to start with the highlights first. I'm going to sink deeper into the pumpkin on those and then start blending back towards the lighter areas. I've got a printout next to me because as you start taking chunks out your stencil, it's going to start to become more difficult to tell what you're doing. So I've got this next to me as a frame of reference as well, which I'm constantly referring back to. When it came to the eyes, I've really messed up on this, but it's not a problem. So Homelander, when he gets angry, is when he's about to shoot his lasers, his eyes glow red. So all I'm going to do is cut out the eyes completely and sort of change my design slightly. That happens quite a lot. Sometimes you just have to sort of make it work if you make a mistake. Hair is something I've been working on carving on real pumpkins, but I've not actually quite got it figured out on foam pumpkins. So this is a bit of an experiment for me as well. I'm going to be using a very, very thin, small attachment, and first of all start by making a few lines in the direction that the hair is going to be going, and then I'm going to start to sort of carve out chunks. Now when it comes to Homelander's suit, I've got absolutely no idea how I'm going to do this. There's a very faint pattern all over his suit, which, if I'm honest, is going to be an absolute nightmare to carve, and I just don't want to spend that much time on the suit. I mean, this is all about me practicing faces and trying to improve my carves and getting more of a likeness to people. So what I'm going to do is something I've been meaning to do for a little while, is play around with some paint on a pumpkin. So I'm going to sort of carve off a section and have a little bit of a test with some different methods of paint. Let's see what that looks like in the dark. Can't really tell that's blue. Now this turns out to be an absolute nightmare. The first few goes of the paint wasn't letting through any light at all. You couldn't really tell it was blue, so I ended up sort of sanding those off. So I'm using acrylic paint. In the end, I ended up watering it down, so I was almost painting with just a blue dishwater, but that seemed to do the trick. On the blue, I had to do a few coats. When I did the first one, it was really showing up all the imperfections of the foam, so I had to sort of improvise here, and I mixed a load of old foam dust in with some of the blue paint and sort of almost filled in some of those holes, and then sort of painted over that, and it made it look a little bit better. But if I'm honest, it really didn't turn out how I wanted it to. I kind of regret using the paint on this, but maybe sort of painting the pumpkins is something I might try again further down the line. This carve has probably taken me about 13 hours to do. Pretty straightforward. It's just observing your reference picture and taking your time. You're better off taking too little off than too much. So competition time. So I'm either going to give away one of these pumpkins, or I will take a request and carve you something special. All you need to do for that is between now and Halloween 2022, you need to comment on at least 2 of my YouTube videos. In October, I'll be doing a draw, picking a winner. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. If you did, give it a like, obviously comment, and I'll see you in the next one.